Hello and welcome back. I'd like to focus on paragraph 200 of case 3SA90091, where the judge focuses on the open letter we published in October 2011. He refers to it as striking that anyone would write such a document, one based on facts and evidence detailing how the Steiner critics attacked us and how their point of view changed markedly after Mrs. Bing's sudden decision to turn on us and vilify us. He strongly objects to us using the word grooming. So against that word is he, that he pretty much excuses everything Mrs. Bing has done to us on the strength of it, including anything that happened before the article's publication, claiming that us using that word was irrational and either mendacious or disordered. Such comments are also used to justify Mrs. Bing's spread the lie that Angel has a clinical judgment of borderline personality disorder, as I explored in video 6. To explain his reasoning, he states that references to abuse and grooming of children are, or are habitually taken to be, a reference to sexual grooming. He refuses to accept any other type of grooming behavior, such as when people groom people for a cult. For the judge to dismiss this by stating the supposed cult was never identified is most puzzling, as both us and the defendants have referred to Steiner education as a cult, and this formed a large part of the background to the case. So, if the cult in question was most definitely identified, why would the judge say it wasn't in his judgment? In order to chastise us for using this word, the judge adopted the quote the defendant's lawyers deliberately tampered with, wherein the context is removed, making it possible to infer what you will from the doctored quote. Let me explain. This is what we actually wrote. Does Alicia not know then about how Thetis Mercurio, that's the pseudonym Mrs. Bing uses online, has demonstrated what can only be described as grooming behavior towards our child? How can we call it otherwise when Thetis Mercurio made so many advances towards her, with healing offers to help to re-engage her with school, even sending out her son to us with a message that he came really only to talk to her about his wonderful school in the country? What did we mean by that? I think it's pretty clear that by offering to help, with Mrs. Bing's son telling my then 11-year-old school-averse daughter that he had come to visit us to persuade her to attend this fantastic school as an ideal place to heal after a terrible Steiner experience, and then never contacting her or us again, was grooming, in the sense that she was enticed into believing things would be better, wonderful even, and then the rug was pulled from under her and she got figuratively kicked in the face. This behavior was so similar to what the Steiner School did to us that we mentioned it in the same article, and in fact, the judge did quote that part too. She displayed the same seductive grooming types of behavior that we have had to document at the school. The same seductive grooming types of behavior. The same. Have we ever mentioned that the Steiner School sexually molested our children? Of course not. So the grooming behavior we said Mrs. Bing displayed could not possibly be sexual in any way. QED, right? Well, if you want to carry out the illusion of justice, you have to do something about that. So here's what the lawyers for the defense did. They took the quote with its proper context and then deliberately removed that context, replacing the second half of the sentence with a full stop, paving the way for ambiguity. The judge reproduces that tempered quote exactly in his judgment, and to make matters worse, he then states in paragraph 202 that the second part of the sentence, which the lawyers deliberately removed, was only ever written by us in our closing statement. Had the judge read the article in full, as he claims to have done at paragraph 200, he would have seen that quote as it actually is, but by telling you he read it in full, he expects you to believe his misquote is accurate. On top of this, Robert Dugans of Bryan Cave, lawyer for the defense, once defended Simon Singh against the BCA over his use of the word bogus. As Judge Justice Seydley said during the oral appeal for that case, in deciding the meaning of the words, the judge overlooked their context. He paraphrased them damagingly. This victory led to libel reform, and Dugans became known as a one-man free speech engine. Yet in our case, that very same lawyer fought to do the exact opposite to us, deliberately overlooking the context of our words and paraphrasing them damagingly. I know what you'll say. That's lawyers for you. But I would have expected a lawyer building a reputation as a free speech champion to not have to resort to tempering evidence in order to win a case. As Dr. Lewis, the first defendant, said during Simon Saint's case, to judge Simon by a definition that was not his own and at an extreme of possible usages is an injustice. Unless you do it yourself. Isn't that right, Doctor? Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.